Hi, I'm looking at your comments while you are watching, and we're gonna interact today. Today is a great live session because we get to understand how to practice remote viewing. My name is Trudy Benjamin. I am a remote viewer here at Farsight Institute, and I personally I'm excited to practice with you guys today. You're gonna get 4 different targets to practice. So far, in the past 3 live streams, we've been doing this and it's been working out for some people very well. Lots of you have been giving really great feedback on this RV practice. So one thing I gotta ask is easy. Can I get a wet rag? Yeah, so I want everybody that's watching right now, if you are interested in practicing with me on live remote viewing, I want you to get a blank piece of paper, a couple of them actually. Get a couple blank pieces of paper, a pen, and get into a comfortable position. We're gonna start off with some quick exercises, pranayama and asanas, so that we can calm our brainwave pattern down. And then afterwards, we're gonna get straight into it. Please avoid all distractions at this moment. If there's anyone in your room that's talking, or if you're in a space where there's pets, or if there's a just distracting sound in the background, try your best to go into a secluded area or a space where you're not distracted. Remote viewing is something that you have to practice doing. So if you feel like you're getting these targets incorrect, don't be too discouraged. Right now, you're just learning the ways of how to do this. So follow along with me. And if you are just watching just to watch, enjoy. For those who are getting a piece of paper and a pen, make sure you're in a seated position, a very comfortable seated position. At the moment, I want you to try your best to get in a space where you're able to throw these pages away, because every target, there's 4 of them, every target you're gonna throw away a piece of paper. So get 4 or more pieces of paper and try your best, yes? So we're gonna start off with asanas and pranayama. First, we're going to do asanas. That is a way of touching the body so that we can keep our senses aware of our physical form. And then afterwards, we're going to do pranayama. That's a breathing exercise where you get to breathe in oxygen to bring back your brainwave pattern down to a stable level. So let's start off with the first thing, asanas. Start off with your head. It's just a light massage. You're lightly aware that your crown is here, and go down to your neck. Every time we do asanas or pranayama, we start off with our left side. So massage all the way down your left arm to your left fingers, back up to your left shoulder, and then we're going to place our hands on our heart. And then we're going to move to our right side. Lightly massage the right side of your arm, right elbows, the right side of your wrist, your right fingers. Massage all the way back up your arm, your right shoulder, back to your heart. This practice helps you be aware of how your physical state is. If your physical body is in pain, you're going to be distracted this whole time and none of this will really matter. So we need to understand how our physical state is. That's why we're paying attention to all parts of our body. Right now, let's move downward. Move all the way down to your chest area, your stomach, massage, or just lightly be aware of these spaces. Go down to the bottom of your back, if you can. Massage your back as well. If you notice any pain in any areas, please Disregard doing anything else and just pay attention on healing your body. If you feel pain. If you don't, let's move back to our heart. Now I want you to go onto the left side of your leg. Move downward. Massage your left thigh, your left knee, your left calf. Go all the way down. Massage your left toes, your left ankle. Go all the way back up again. Massage your calf. Massage your left thigh once again, all the way back up to your heart. Now let's switch to our right side. Massage your right thigh, your right knee, your right calf, your right ankle, all those toes, don't ignore them. Massage all the way back up your foot, back up your leg, massage back up your thigh, and place your hands on your heart. That completes asanas. Now we're going on to pranayama. This is just a breathing practice. We're going to breathe a little bit quick at first, alternating from left nostril to right nostril, using your thumb and your pinky. And then we're going to breathe slow, alternating from your left nostril to your right nostril, breathing in slowly. This is not to freak your mind out, it's to calm your brain waves down. So we're gonna go fast. We're breathing inwards through our nose, out through our mouth. Then we're gonna breathe out slow, breathing inwards through the nose, out through the mouth. Ready? Begin. Alternate. Slow down. Breathe in deeper. One last time. Okay, now we may begin. I want you to grab your piece of paper and your pen. We're going to first place a dot on our paper. This dot is called a probing tool. It's to distract your mind from looking all around the room and trying to describe things that you're seeing. This is so that you can stay focused in one space instead of everywhere else. It's called a probing dot. When I write the number of the target coordinates on the screen, it's going to be 8 numbers. After I write down these 8 digits, these coordinates are so you can distract your mind from thinking you know what I'm going to give you. You don't know anything. The one thing you know right now is you know nothing at all. So do not try to guess these targets. Really, do not guess. Do not already have what you think I'm going to write in your mind and then describe it. That's what this probing tool is for. And that's what these target coordinates will be for as well. It's a distraction. We want you to focus on diving deep into your mind. First thing you should think of is nothing. Nothingness. This should be a blank slate, a black screen in your mind. Then you should dive deep into the target coordinates and this probing tool. When I say dive deep, I want you to physically and mentally place yourself in the center of the target. If you can visualize placing yourself in the center of the target, try to reach and grasp for the first thing that you're sensing. Using your senses in this is going to be very, very helpful. Whatever you're thinking, You can describe how you see things, what you're smelling, what you hear, what you can taste. But the best way to do this is to describe it in a low-level way. When we say low-level, use your description words in a basic way. If you're visualizing something complex, describe it simple. For example, if you're visualizing a really large structure, say structure. If you're visualizing a human or a person, say subject. If you're visualizing being on land, write land. If you visualize that you're in the middle of a race car track place and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on, use multiple low-level descriptions to write down exactly what you're thinking about. If you're going to create a story, then it's going to be too specific and you're probably going to be off target. So use basic words to describe how you feel. If you're describing the senses of your emotions, you can write those down. But if what you're writing is too specific, it's called a deduction. So be as simple as possible. So we're going to start with the target coordinates. Write these digits on your paper, right next to your probing tool. And then write down the first things that you can dive into and grasp in the center of the target. You ready? Here's your target coordinates. 7, 4, 9, 6, 0, 0, 1, 3. Probe. What's the first thing that you can grasp in the center of the target? Is this target on a base surface or not on a base surface? Write down anything that comes to your mind when you're thinking of this target. How does being in the center of the target feel? What are your emotions being in the center of the target? Grab something. Is it hard, soft, semi-hard, semi-soft, wet, or mushy? What can you see is the activity in the center of the target? Move around, look to your left and look to your right. What's the first thing you see when you look to your left? What's the first thing you see when you look to your right? Dive deeper. How do you feel when you look to your left? What is your emotions as the viewer when you are in the center of the target, looking to your right? Do you sense any movement in this target? What's moving? Describe what's moving. How do you feel about what's moving? Is what's moving on a base surface or not on a base surface? What's the color that you see in the center of the target? Grab the thing that you're sensing in the center of the target and tell me what the color is of that. What sounds do you hear? Is it loud, moderate, or quiet? Is the center of the target bright, dark, dim, or glowing? Is there activity in this target or no activity? Can you describe or sketch the activity that you're sensing in the target? Can you describe or sketch the environment of this target? For people that are having a harder time writing down things, grab a piece of paper and you're going to do flash sketch. A flash sketch is when you tilt your head up at a 45-degree angle and close your eyes for 2 seconds and sketch the first thing that came to your mind after you saw Nothing. The first thing you should think of is a blank slate, darkness. And then, once you close your eyes for 2 seconds, something will appear. There's a lot of things that can appear. Just try your best to sketch whatever the first thing was that came to your mind. Once you're done sketching, I want you to touch different parts of your sketch and describe how the things feel, what they look like. Write them down, and do not disregard your thoughts. All of your thoughts matter. If you feel like you thought of something, don't scribble it out. Just keep writing. Probe on your flash sketch. Another thing. Describe how it feels. Describe what it looks like. If you are in the center of the target, how would you feel? Describe that as well. Now I want you to go back to your probing dot tool. Move 1 hour after the target event. Can you describe this environment now? What's the first emotion that you're sensing? What's the first thing you hear? What is the first thing you see? I'm asking these questions quickly because I want you to try your best to write down the first thing that comes to your mind. Dive deeply into the target and pretend like you're actually there. One hour after the target event, can you just draw what this location looks like? Try your best. I'm not asking you to be Picasso. Just sketch the first thing that came to your mind 1 hour after the target event. If you need a new sheet of paper, go ahead. Tilt your head up at a 45-degree angle. Close your eyes for 2 seconds and sketch the first thing that came to your mind. Do not hesitate. Do not create a story. You do not know what the target is. You can only sense what the target is. I'll give you guys a couple seconds before we reveal it. Put your pen down. You ready? So target coordinates 74960013 is the war on Gettysburg. Yes? The emotions in this target is very chaotic and hectic. This target is dynamic and complex. There's multiple subjects in this environment. There is a base surface. So if you wrote that down, good job. If you sketched something, it would have been very, very accurate if you sketched a crowd of subjects moving in multiple directions. If you were sensing death in this target and you wrote that down, that is accurate as well. If you were sensing male subjects and you described lots of subjects that were male, that was accurate as well. In this environment, there's lots of different colors, but I wanted you to mainly dive deep into the activity of what was happening here. If you actually wrote down your personal view or feelings of how you felt in this target, then it should have related to either not wanting to be here or being very confused. You know, that's a biased situation, honestly. Everybody probably has a different perspective on how they would feel if they're in the middle of this war, but I would not want to be here personally. But this was the target for target coordinates 74960013. I want you to disregard this paper completely. This paper has nothing to do with the next target anymore. We're going to move on. New piece of paper, and keep your probing dot on this new piece of paper. And like I said, don't be disregarded. Don't be sad about not getting the target correct. You're just practicing. Okay. Here's our next target. Target coordinates, after you draw your probing dot tool, is 6, 6, 4, 9, 8, 2, 2, 0. Are we on a base surface or not on a base surface? What is this environment like? Describe what you're sensing. What can you see? What can you feel? Grab something in the center of the target. Is it hard, soft, semi-hard, semi-soft, wet, or mushy? Move around and look upward. Look down, to your left and to your right, and describe to me, what is this environment like? Is it bright, dark, dim, or glowing? For those of you that say, I do not know, try your best to think of an answer. The first thing that you keep thinking about over and over and over again. What keeps coming to your mind? Is this environment loud, moderately quiet, or silent? Probe the temperature. Is this environment cold, moderate, hot, or warm? Look down. What's the first color you see when you look downward at the target? Is there no activity or activity here in this target? If there's activity, can you describe it? In a low, basic way, how would you describe the activity in this environment? Look behind you. What's the first thing you see when you look behind you in the center of the target? What type of sounds do you hear here? What does it sound like? Can you describe it? In the center of the target, a shape should be perceivable. Grab a piece of paper and flash sketch something that you're sensing. When you're flash sketching, tilt your head back upward at a 45-degree angle. Close your eyes for 2 seconds, no longer than 2 seconds, and sketch the first thing that came to your mind. When you're done sketching the first thing that came to your mind, probe it and describe to me. What did you sketch? What's the color of what you sketched? Describe the shape. How does it smell? How does it feel? What's the temperature? If you were standing in the center of this target, what would your emotions be like? What would your thoughts be? Write down a stream of thoughts that would come to your mind if you were in the center of the target talking to yourself. How would you feel being here? I'll give you a second before we reveal the target. Put your pen down. The target is Sedona, Mars. The color here is a bit orange-red, orange-red-ish color. There's lots of hills and rocks and natural stones in this environment. It is hot. The temperature is very hot. The environment is most likely windy. There's lots of stones and hills. So if you drew a shape that was kind of like a mountain, good job, good job. If you drew a circle of the entire planet itself, perfectly fine too, yes. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next target. Grab a new sheet of paper and keep your pen. I suggest pens because I do not want you to erase anything. Keep all of the information that you write down. Do not scribble out any information. All of your thoughts are valid and are somehow related to the target if you've calmed your mind enough. We're going to have new target coordinates. Keep this probing dot on the paper. Write these coordinates with me, and when you're done writing the numbers, begin describing what you're sensing. Oh, and a new color. Okay. Your target coordinates are 0, 0, 1, 5, 7, 9, 8, 7. Are you on a base surface or not on a base surface? What is the first sound that you hear in this environment? Is it the loud sound, moderate, or quiet sound? What do these sounds remind you of? Natural sounds or man-made sounds? Stand in the center of the target and smell the air. What does it smell like? Natural smells or man-made smells? Describe the smell to me. In one word, if you could describe it, what would it smell like? Or what does it remind you of? Grab a probing tool. Move around. What is the first color that you see? Grab something in the center of the target and tell me if you're feeling a temperature that's cold, moderate, warm, or hot temperatured. Move to your left. What kind of activity is here? Is there no activity or lots of activity? Probe and describe the type of activity that you're sensing. Use one word to describe what you're feeling here in this target. If you could simplify it, is there lots of activity, fast, slow, or still activity? Is there any movement here in this target? If you could describe it, write it down and tell me what kind of movement you keep sensing. Is it one directional movement or multi-directional movement. In the center of the target, something should be perceivable. What's the first thing that came to your mind? If you're able to sketch this, go ahead and grab your sheet of paper and your pen and put your pen down for a second. Before you rush into anything, just put your pen down. Look back at the target coordinate numbers again. 00157987. Now grab your pen again, tilt your head back at a 45-degree angle upward, close your eyes for 2 seconds, and now sketch the first thing that came to your mind. Sketch with as much detail as possible. There's something you saw. Try your best to draw as much as you can. And when you're ready, probe around on that piece of paper of what you sketched and describe different areas of that. Describe the temperature, describe the textures, describe what you keep hearing, what you keep seeing. Describe as much colors as possible. Describe any activity or any type of movement that you keep thinking of. Whatever you're sensing, don't disregard it. Just write it down. If you know you're trying to create a story, use this probing tool again and just focus on it lightly and dive deeper into your mind instead of trying to figure out something to write. Just think of the target coordinates instead of a story that you want to create. Keep sketching. I'll give you guys a little more seconds. And when you're ready, you can put your pen down. All right. I'm going to reveal the target. The target for 00157987 is Niagara Falls. The best description of this environment is water, or anything wet. It's a very natural environment. The movement here is coming from water, and the movement is very fast. There's multi-directional movement. There's lots of subjects here that like to be tourists at Niagara Falls, but the water is also moving as well, downward. If you were sensing a natural land environment on a base surface, good job. You could see different colors when it comes to the water based on whatever day, but the main thing we needed to focus on in this environment was water. Water and a natural environment. Let's move on to the last target. Almost done. Okay. Grab your sheet of paper, a brand new one. And we're going to go a little bit deeper this time. I'm actually really excited for this one. Okay. The target coordinates for this session is 4, 4, 7, 2, 0, 1, 8, 9. Are you on a base surface or not on a base surface? In the center of the target, something should be perceivable. What's the first thing that came to your mind? Are there any dominant session elements that you're thinking of? Do you sense any movement or activity here in this target? Can you describe it? Describe what you're sensing is the activity for this target. What's the first thing that you can see? Describe the color. Grab it. Actually feel what you're sensing. What does it feel like? What's the texture? Is it hard, soft, semi-hard, semi-soft, wet, or mushy? What do you keep hearing? What are the thoughts that come to your mind if you were here in the center of this target? In the center of the target, something should be perceivable. Stand there in the center of the target and tell me, what's to your right? Are you on a base surface or are you not on a base surface? What's below you? Describe the color of it. Describe how it feels. Describe the texture. Look to your left. What do you see is there? What type of movement is happening in this target? Is it very fast, moderate, or slow? What are your emotions about this target? Can you sense the emotions of the environment? What does it feel like being here in the center of this target? What are the thoughts that continue to come to your mind? I want you to move 8 days after this target event. Yes, move with your mind. Detach yourself from the time of the target event and move forward into the future, 8 days. Is this environment still the same? Yes or no? If you're prolonging this, then you're going to create a story in your head. Do you sense that the environment or this target is different or still the same after 8 days of the target event? Yes or no? Write down anything that comes to your mind. How do you feel? If yes, how do you feel this environment has changed? What about it feels different? Describe to me and tell me. In a very simple way. What's the first thing that came to your mind when you wanted to move 8 days into the future after this target event? How did your emotions change? How do you feel the environment has changed? What about the environment is still the same or different? Do you sense any subjects in this environment? If so, how many? None? Few? Many? Or a crowd? Describe the skin texture of these subjects. Is it soft, hard, smooth, wet, or mushy? Yes, describe the subjects. Dive deeper into these subjects. If you're sensing any subjects at all. What is the color of these subjects? First color that came to your mind. Probe one subject. Probe another subject. What's the color of them? Describe the emotions of these subjects. What are their thoughts instead of yours? Write down their thoughts. Write down the thoughts of one subject or another subject. Move around the environment and just tell me, what are they thinking about? Dive deeper into their minds. What are their thoughts? If you could stand next to this subject, would you feel comfortable? Yes or no? Eight days after the target event, now what are these subjects' thoughts? Are these subjects still here? Yes or no? Do these subjects still look the same? Yes or no? If no, tell me why they do not look the same. If yes, that they look the same, do they still act the same? The activity that they are doing, are they still doing the same activity in this target 8 days after the target event? Yes or no? If you're telling me they do not act the same 8 days after the target event time, why? Probe and tell me the first thing that comes to your mind about why these subjects are different, acting different, or looking different 8 days after the target event time. What are their thoughts? How do they feel emotionally? What are they thinking of? Do they have no thoughts? And are they not thinking about anything at all? Or are they thinking about something? Write down as much detail as you can. If you can describe these subjects physically, describe what they look like. Go to every single body part. Move around and use your probing dot tool. What does one subject's hair look like? What does the other subject's hair look like? Describe as much detail as possible about these subjects in a simple, basic way. What is the color of their skin? How do they feel? What is the texture of their skin? Write it down. Is this subject tall or short? Feel and grab the subject in the center of the target. Actually place yourself in the position to know exactly what you're sensing. Dive deeper into these subjects of this target. What is one subject thinking about, and what is the other subject thinking about? Keep probing. Tell me more details. Deep mind probe each subject individually and tell me What is the activity or movement that these subjects are doing? Where are they going? Where are they coming from? What are they doing now? What are they going to do in the future? Why are they doing anything? Why are they not doing anything? Whatever you continue to write down, explain more details about your descriptions. If you're telling me that there is no activity in this target, probe why. If you're telling me you see nothing, tell me why. If you feel like there's nothing here in the center of the target, move away the cloud in your mind and show me what actually is there. There is a target. If you say there's nothing and you don't know, and there's nothing at all, try your best to describe something, just at least one detail about the center of the target. There is something there. Tell me exactly the reason why these subjects are the way they are, or feel the way they feel, or are doing what they're doing. Ask yourself why, and then write down the first thing that continues to come to your mind. When you're probing, make sure you probe only for a few seconds. Do not probe too long. You'll start to create a story in your head. Use 1 to 2 seconds with this tool. 1, 2. Write down something. I want you to go on a new sheet of paper and flash sketch this environment and the first thing that you see in the center of the target. Tilt your head back at a 45-degree angle upward. Close your eyes and sketch the first thing that came to your mind. A few more seconds. Okay. So, I'm going to reveal the target. And this target, I actually want you guys to email me your details about what you just got, because this can be really interesting. This can get, this can turn into another level if you guys describe this very well. Aziz, did you get any pictures at all? No? Okay. So this target is very unique because whatever you wrote down just now was a description. I can't post this on the screen, but you can search this up after you have completely written down all of your details. The target is 2 subjects, Betty and Barney Hill. Betty and Barney Hill is a married couple, and they experienced an alien abduction back in the 50s, I believe. We have a video here at Farsight on our streaming service about multiple remote viewers viewing the event of Betty and Barney Hill's UFO abduction. And I was one of those viewers, and I was quite surprised about the details that I wrote before I even knew what the target was. If you don't know about the story of Betty and Barney Hill, I highly suggest you search that up right now. The experience of these 2 subjects, they were a married couple that were going on an adventure. They were driving down a highway. Long story short, UFO abducts them and takes away their memory about what happens. And they go home, and for the next 8 days, Betty, the wife, she is a Caucasian female who is shorter than her husband. Her husband is a black male subject who is quite taller. His hair is short. Her hair is a bit longer. She has blonde hair. He has black hair. If you described those types of subjects in this target, good job. She was anxious about this event because she had memories of the abduction while he disregarded the memories as much as possible. 8 days after the target event of their abduction, they went to a therapist, a hypnosis, who placed them under hypnosis therapy and got information about what actually happened on the night of their abduction. The subjects, 8 days after the target event, feel much more anxious and irritated and frustrated about what happens because they now have an understanding of what happened to them 8 days before. The day or the night of the target event, the male subject, Barney, actually feels content. He feels very indifferent. He's not really stressed out about much. He doesn't remember anything that happened to him in his abduction. The night of the target event, Betty, the female subject, she actually feels anxious and confused and stressed out because parts of her clothes were ripped up. If you watch the video, you'll understand why this story is insane. But the point is, if you wrote down descriptions of a subject that was feeling anxious or confused or stressed out, you most likely got Betty as one of your subjects. If you wrote down a female subject or a male subject, then that was correct as well. If you wrote down words that related to family or couple or marriage or anything that just reminded you of two people in a relationship, then that was a good description as well. If you wrote down chaos for the activity, something that's chaotic, like aliens abducting humans, then you definitely got the target correct. But if you drew, this is the part that I really want you guys to email me about. The email will be on the screen, by the way. It's info@trudybenjamin.com. If you were able to sketch Betty, Barney, or any of the alien subjects in this target, please, I want to see. This is really cool. So the environment that they were driving in is a highway, a desert specifically, and the environment that they got abducted in was in the middle of a forest. So there's multiple locations in this target. You could have sketched a couple or a structure driving on a highway. You could have sketched a UFO. You could have sketched a forest because they were in the middle of a forest when they were abducted. You could have sketched 8 days after the target event, which was in a structure, which is the hypnotherapist's location. You could have sketched Betty and Barney Hill just in a car, you know. If you sketched any of those locations, send me the images. I want to see. I really want to see. This is really cool target. The activity of the target event for the abduction, specifically what happened only inside of this UFO, those are details that are like on another level of chaos. The one thing that Betty continued to speak on was that she kept thinking that the subjects were talking to her telepathically and not moving their mouths. So the alien subjects, if you sketched alien subjects, good job. But the alien subjects were using telepathy, mind communication, no talking. So if you could not understand the words that you were hearing and you continued to write down languages that were not English, non-English languages would have been a good description as well. If you wrote down anything about eyes, Barney described a lot about how he felt like eyes were being pushed into his brain. This story is another level. He continued to talk about how eyes were being pushed into his brain. He felt like he was being absorbed by the alien subjects through their eyes. So if you wrote down anything about eyes, then I want to know about that. Let me see the information you got. Also, this target gets very, very, very disturbing. Objects were placed inside of these subjects while they were being abducted in multiple parts of their bodies by man-made objects. So the important thing that you can really grasp from this target is that this target event is filled with lots of detail. So if you got specific details about anything relating to abductions or aliens, non-human subjects, non-surface structures, and you wrote that down, good job. That was the goal. I actually want to see, I really want to see this information. If you guys sketch this, that would be really cool. But I personally am instructing new students for the next couple of months. So if you are really interested in learning scientific remote viewing, then please email me at info@trudybenjamin.com. And or if you're interested in getting a session from me, like a private session done where you are the tasker and you give me a target, email me as well. And if anything, you're just watching, just to watch, hi, check out my website. It's trudybenjamin.com. You get to see lots of updates about our community building and my new school that I'm creating called Unschool Academy, where I get to teach multiple people internationally how to unlearn the ways of their mind. My name is Trudy Benjamin, and thank you for practicing scientific remote viewing with me today. Bye, guys.